Like I said, welcome. Those that will be watching on YouTube, also welcome. Welcome to another session where we are sharing small things like analytical skills, and we are taking it at a slower pace. But I assure you at the end of this session, if you borrow me your ears, you would have actually much better clarity about where the market of analysis is going. Just think about that for 1 second. We know there are jobs out there, and we know there are people that can get the jobs, but this is information that was shared that actually says, where is the next demand for the next few years? What does it look like? So it's unfortunate that most of us don't have access to this information, and hence why we are working so hard to share this type of information and inspire people so that they can become expert analysts. So I'm glad that you are in this field, you are partaking into this breadth of information. So let's just start. My name is Disama Matieti, for those that don't know me. If you know me by now, you'll realize that my passion is to share as much as possible. And today I'm going to start to speak. When you find that I speak too fast, just let me know so that I can slow down a little bit. You are more than welcome to raise your hand and engage. If you are on YouTube, you can leave your comment and I'll come back and I'll be able to respond to it. The information that we're sharing today is not technical at all, even though it has the technical aspect probably at one point, but I'll try to share it in a non-technical way. I'll try by all means not to make it non-technical way. When I start to mumble about technicalities, feel free to stop me and you say, I did not understand that word that you just used, because not all of us are in the same field of analysis. There's different type of fields of analysis. I think so far I've made a summary. I mean, I'm looking at about 20 different job titles just in analysis, and they don't all talk the same thing. It's all different things. But what's important about today's conversation is to say, what does the future look like? What does the future look like for people that wants to jump into the analysis space? And what's more important is, what type of skills is needed in that role? I know most of us, because I'm passionate about data and maths and crafts, sometimes we can be carried away. But being an analyst doesn't only stay with that. You'll realize now when I show also the skills that are on the side, that you don't actually have to have mathematical type of skills, but you just have to think in a analytical way, in a logical analytical way. So within all these analytical skills sessions that we are doing, we try to share small things to say, how do you think in an analytical way? So if you keep on coming to this session, you missed one, you can always catch up on it on YouTube, but you're always welcome. You can always, if you're on the WhatsApp community, just pop something in there and then I'll be able to get back to you, or the community will be able to answer you. So just don't feel, put on the side. Just chat is supposed to be an open forum where you can ask real questions and you get real answers. So let's get to it. So we're now talking about the topic for today. It's an interesting one. It says emerging skills. So we're talking about emerging occupations in RSA. So we're asking ourselves, so now we know what has happened. We know what skills are on the top. We know how much people are in demand. We're asking ourselves the question, is the same skill that I'm seeing today, is it still going to be relevant tomorrow? If there's a lot of people that are have got occupation as a bus driver, say for instance, we're asking ourselves, will we still need more bus drivers tomorrow? And what skills, while we're there, what skills will be required if you are the bus driver of the future? But the nice part about it here, we'll just be talking about analysis. So instead of going into the big Zoom, I just went down and look at only analysis field. So when I say analysis field, I'm not just looking at the one that's got data. I'm also looking at the one that's got data, which is the quantitative. And I'm also looking at the one which got words, which is the qualitative. The one that's got words might be more like strategy analysis. You come into the company, it tells you what they are projecting for the next 3, 4, 5 years. You take those words and you present that into a qualitative way. Sometimes we even run surveys to say, hang on a second, we opened a new branch, bring those surveys. What does the survey look like? Even though when you present, it looks like it was quantitative, the whole issue is it's qualitative because you're playing around with words. So the biggest question is to say, where is this going in? So the first question that we're asking ourselves is, what does the market look like going into the future? So what does the market for analysis look like going into the future? And I went into a study. I realized that they were saying in 2019, the analysis market, the size of it, how much people are willing to spend on analysis, that's the market. If a company is willing to hire 17 people at 100,000 each, that becomes the market. So in this case, in 2019, the market, the global market for analysis, we're putting it in dollars, it was 23 billion. I know it's a lot. You remember when Cyril Ramaphosa was doing the COVID relief, he did 1 billion rand, which we take this thing, we multiply it by 20. I think the exchange rate is sitting at around 18, almost 20 rand, so that we can see how much South African billions we're looking at, over 200 billion South African rand. So the COVID relief 200 times. If you remember, people were excited about the COVID relief money. Think about it 200 times. That's in 2019. Now in 2026, the projection of the same market, the projection is sitting at, I'm sure you're guessing it, probably double it. Should we put it at 40, 50 billion? 133 billion. So just in 7 years, here we got 7 years, but here we got 110 billion. That's going to be spent on analysis. That's just crazy. This explains why a lot of people in analysis will have overinflation salary increases, and they get CEO type salary increases. I know about this because I worked in finance for a bank for many years, and I know the type of money that we were paying for the person with the right skill. Could be AWS, I know they go into mostly IT, but it could be that, it could be business analysis. I remember in 2016, there was this one business analyst that says she doesn't understand why she's getting paid 1.4 million at 2016. I mean, that was just crazy. You can just imagine today how much they get paid. So when you know what you know, this increase of 110 billion, you will have a share into that. We multiply by that 110 billion by 20, let's do it by 19. So I did the calculation, and I know you guys are smart guys. I'm gonna put it in blue so that you can see it. This is the number that it gave me. It said this is 1,996,544, and then we got this many zeros, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All I remember is this is 0, 0. This is a million. So this is a million. What do you call that? A trillion. I think a trillion is 1,000 million. But either way, that's in South African rands. This 110 billion, what it looks like. There's a big market. A lot of people are going to be flooding in. If you're about to start, and you're about to start this year, because 2026 is around the corner, you have enough time to actually go to school and get yourself a degree, or get yourself a certificate, or go online AWS and get yourself something sorted. You have enough time. That's why we're talking about this thing now in 2023. So in 2026, the people that's got the skill, I know right now it looks confusing, but if you have the skill in 2026, you're gonna be sharing into the big pot of this loot that is coming through. So now the second part of today, what we're gonna be discussing is what are the skills that have been identified? And what are the occupations that they are saying are relevant for South Africa? Not all occupations are relevant. Sometimes we might have maybe like a NASA person that flies the stuff to the moon and they do analysis there. Because we don't fly stuff to the moon, we only got a telescope somewhere in the Karoo. It might not be relevant to us. But here's are the ones that are quite relevant to us. So you can just have a look at it. So the ones that are relevant to us, I'm trying to share my screen now. That's what it looks like. But you must bear in mind that this information is presented by the WEF, the World Economic Forum. For us, people that are in finance, we are always excited to talk about this. But a nice part about it is Blake Mzimande in 2021. Can't remember when, because this is the 2022 revision of the same report. But in 2021, he went on TV and he said, it's quite amazing how most graduates are still going for careers that are oversubscribed. So when he was talking about careers that are oversubscribed, if you knew that you wanted to do, say for instance, you wanted to do art, for instance, and there was a market for art. When you come 20 years later, there might not be the same hunger for art as it used to be 20 years ago. So that's where the issue of oversubscribe comes into play. But this list that was presented by them shows you the ones not that are oversubscribed today, but the ones that might be allowing us to be future-proof. So here they are doing a presentation. They're looking from 2020 to 2024. So they're looking for South African demand from 2020 when COVID hit until 2024. What skills are going to be in need? Then you can just build from these skills and go forward. So when you're looking at it, the skill itself or the job title itself, the one that talks about robotics, are highly in demand. There's not a lot of people that are doing robotics, RPA, and the people that are doing robotics, RPA, sometimes they say, I was hired as a robotics specialist, but I ended up doing manual, small things, and they change job title. But if you have the right skill and the company it knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing, whether it becomes the robotic hand, the ones that does assembly like in the factories, or it becomes the software robot, the one that you set tasks and then it follows the task. In last week's this Monday session, we're talking about how you build a data model from scratch, and then we're talking about sorting out applications coming through to bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3. The easier way to do that, you can also do with robotics process automation. So those are the people that they are saying, if our country could have much more of those people, we will be in a better position. In terms of, the ones with the robotic hands in the manufacturing industry, yes, we're still importing most of those people. In terms of the ones that are doing mostly software, where I was working, we were exposed to most people that were coming from India, coming with the skill to do that. And then a few people that were South African based. So they were taking a big share of this billions of rands that the company is willing to pay to automate a process. So essentially what you do is you just come in, you learn the language, and all that you do, you just automate the process, and that's it. Data analysis and scientists. This is where I normally share most of my content based on that one, data analysis and data scientist. But besides that, I mean, this is quantitative. There's still also some other that are qualitative that you can also look at. But right now, the whole demand, if you're a data analyst or you are a data scientist, there's a huge demand for you that they are looking for you left, right, and center. The second one that we're looking at are the management organizational analysts. These are the ones that where your strategy analyst might fall into, or your organizational specialist might fall into. So they are the ones that actually look at where the organization is going and they tell it where it should be going, you know, something like that. Business development professionals are not part of the analyst side, but big data specialists are there. These are the ones that can actually look at large amount of data and be able to make sense out of it so that they can make business sense. And the last one that I put there, which is not within analysis, but it's something quite interesting, is the AI and machine learning specialist. Just next to it, they are putting the skills that are required. So what's quite amazing, if you run through the list, you'll realize that most of it is not technical skills. They are looking for analytical thinking and innovation, which is quite nice, because the sessions that we are talking about here, if you didn't have a chance to attend all of them, just catch up on them on YouTube. I'm going to be uploading every day after we do the session. It's about the thinking, not the tool itself, because the tool will get you there. It's about knowing where to go, how to get to a place or a decision, but not necessarily on the tool itself. Critical thinking and analysis, that will be attributable to the data scientist and analyst. Leadership and social influence, I mean, that will be for people that are in maybe the social space and they're coming in from the corporate side of things to say, let's do corporate strategy. How can we split it? How could we rebrand? How could we get more influence, more traffic? Even the people that are sitting in marketing analysts, or they call them digital marketing specialists, I think they might be falling under organizational analyst than sitting on the data analyst or big, because they are not doing data itself. They're just saying, this is where the trend is going. This is the feed from my Twitter. These are the feeds from Facebook. And this is where we're getting presence and what it looks like. So this is just in high level what was said the trend will look like. I know it says until next year. So the question that we should be asking here is, now what's next? What's next? What can you do while you are in here? We're in 2023, we're almost done with the year. What's next? So what's next could be, you can enroll for a proper qualification. I wouldn't advise, if you already have a qualification, I would advise you having to restart again, because I mean, sometimes it's a long journey, but you can just see how can you enhance what you have to shift in a way to around the data analysis space or in an analysis space. Sooner or later, I'm going to be sharing all the 20 job titles that I have, and I'm going to be showing the requirements that I've picked up thus far from LinkedIn, Indeed, and PNet. You can just look to say, oh, hang on a second, I have 5 out of 20 things that are required from that role, or this one you fit 100%, and you can pick on which one you want to do. Because I'm not not into geology, stuff like geospatial analyst, I might not be able to apply for that role. But even though it's still say analyzing data, it might look like, oh, I'm just analyzing data. But if I don't have the context of what I'm analyzing, it might be very difficult for me to be in that field. So just in high level, that's what I'm recommending as far as possible. The report, I will be sharing this report if you want. It's about 140 pages. So I know I've read some books that were 140 pages long. So it's a small, they call it a report, but when you're looking at 140 pages, it might just be a book. and it's written in small fonts. But the nice part about it, it's got nice graphs and nice stats about where things are going. I don't know if I did put your mind at ease a little bit. And if you are thinking about, changing your career, I'm saying do not hesitate. The analysis space, it's getting bigger and bigger. And when I'm talking about 133, like I said, that's why I was highlighting the AI one in orange. I'm not including those. This is just pure analysis. Pure analysis is going to grow. The AI stuff, yes, they're going to be spending money on AI, but just pure analysis is going to grow. So right now, I just want to take a break. I know I shared a lot. Let me just clarify wherever I might have went a bit faster. If you need something, just feel free to ask me any question that you have. I don't know, Kamkhelo and Awara, I'm picking on both of you because you just joined in. I don't know if you're feeling much better now.
Thank you so much, Lisema. On my end, I just want to find out a little bit more on the qualitative side. And what do the trends look like for that, and what spaces can someone, because I myself, like I said, I have a background of sociology, which is more in the qualitative side, regardless of my honors degree being quantitative research, but background is qualitative. So with qualitative, I think I'm having a bit of challenge of that merge and moving, So I just need to understand, what does the qualitative space have in store for someone with a background like mine?
Okay, thanks for that. I mean, what you're saying is quite wonderful. Remember that other second line that talked about organizational analysts? I think most of what you are looking for will be sitting there. And if you've done, on the sociology side of things, and you are thinking about, no, what's next for me? Because you can't just be doing probably whatever you wanted to do. You're thinking, okay, let me jump into analysis. Like I said, there's a lot of qualitative analysis that could be done within an organization. Some of them might, to your surprise, some of them might still even be in finance, because in finance, I mean, sometimes you're not compiling the financial statements themselves, but you might be the one who's preparing the stuff for the investors, like under the investors relation team. So your honors in quants might come in very handy, because all you are doing is, okay, we have the financial statement, let the CEO, CFO and CEO present. After that, you go back to the investors, you find out, did you guys hit the mark? And then you come back. In a way, they might put the title as something that's related to finance, but when you look at the detail itself, you might find yourself that actually this you call it a finance specialist, but it's actually something qualitative that you can do. So I'm hoping that once I'm done with that exercise, I can be able to split to say qualitative, quantitative, high level, low level, senior level. And then once you get that diagram, then you can say, oh, hang on a second, it looks like this position, this job title is for me. And this is what it looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Happy? I don't know if there's any other hand. Welcome. Yep.
Okay. I'll go for it. For me, I think when I went into data analysis, I went into the technical route, learning about all the softwares and being influenced. Like, okay, you have to know Python, you have to know Excel, you have to know all those things. But when I went, my first job was like in UX design. So I think that quantitative level, you should have it, because I had to learn a lot about UX and what it is, because even though I can have a lot of numbers, but if I don't understand what they are saying to me, or I cannot pull insights from those. I can just put statistics and just do regression lines, but then it's more about actually having that quantitative knowledge. I think you are like at an advantage right now having that quantitative knowledge, because all you have to do right now is just learn a few softwares and then you can pull out a lot of insights. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks a lot, Kamakhala, for that.
Thank you.
Apologies, everybody. It looks like there was a technical glitch where people were disturbed a little bit. But when it comes to here, I think the conversation is quite clear. What's next is we need another deep dive that just talks to the difference between the analyst roles that are looking at quantitative. I think those ones, there's a beautiful initiative that's running where it's showing all the quants people and their testimony about what needs to be done in quants. But the other one that we're looking at on the side here is the one that are talking about qualitative, because I feel like not a lot has been done. And also with that same regard, the one that's talking about quants, it actually focuses on university graduates. As we know right now that there's a new emergence of people that are qualifying online. So here you have what's next will be university. And then the second one, what's next for you will be online. Most of the time they are free courses. Most of the time, not all of them are free. Some you pay, like the ones that are coming from Oxford University, like AI and stuff you pay. But the other ones from Harvard, whatever they are for free, you only pay when you want the certificate, like $1,000 or something like that. You only pay when you want a certificate, but the education is free. So now the question becomes, these ones that are coming from university, we know that the job market, job description is looking for them. Everybody else is saying we're looking for 3-year in informatics, IT management, whatever the case is. We're looking for the graduate with that. The issue is who's recognizing these ones? The ones that are doing online. When you're already on the job, you have that flexibility of going to like your Udemy, going into AWS, going into even LinkedIn. You can upskill yourself if you're already on the job, and they recognize that, the organization will recognize it. But the bigger issue is if you are outside of a job and you go in the online route. Now, when you go into the job interview, I've never said and we ask a person about the online stuff. We always, maybe because of how we see things, we always push it away, and we have preference over university degree. And somebody said the reason why we have preference over university degree is for simple things. Patrick said, I've forgotten his surname. It's very good, huge on YouTube and stuff. He said the only reason why people go to university is so that you can show your prospective employer that you have the ability to show up in one place every day for 3 years. And you were diligent enough to, whether it's boring or exciting, you were diligent enough to concentrate and write the exam and be able to tell them exactly what needs to be done. So those qualities come through is what you're looking for at work, because the first few months, it will be exciting at work. After that, you start to say, then what? But you are assured that if a person can show up for 4 years, for 5 years in university, they are more likely to going to show up for the next 10 years when they when they get employed. So when you go the online route, you might have a bigger chance of being recognized if you're going to freelance, especially in the new environments. There's a lot of websites now that I keep on sharing on the newsletter that are looking for people that are freelancing, small company or 1 or 2 influencers. They just need an analyst to help out with whatever. So normally on the newsletter, I would post that and I would share that. So whatever route that you're going to take here, your what's next. Like you've had the 2 questions. How do I move from qual to quants? The other one is I'm on quants. How do I get quals, or how do I see the benefit of quants, even though I'm in the quals page, which is UX, user experience? So all of that leads to this. Whatever you do next, if you go into a university route, you are more likely going to come for established organization, old school organization, where old school managers, old people will hire you, like myself, old people. If you go the online route, you're more likely going to be attractive to the new age generation, because they don't see the value of those old university. You're coming out with a lot of bills. They just want the skill. So if you go in with the skill and you come back and you say, I can design that for you, I self-taught myself how to do Power BI, I can do it for you to the T, they will appreciate that more than the big organization. So that's it for today. We just highly looked at the emerging occupations that are coming through and the skills that are required. So far, we split it up into qualitative, quantitative later on, but within that, we look at not just the skill, the occupation itself, but what type of qualities or skills are required within it. Why are we doing that? Because the market is going to grow by billions, whether you're looking at it in South African rands or you're looking at it in US dollars. So thank you for joining in. We will post this video. You can be able to recap on it. And we continue with the same conversation on Monday. Coming Mondays and Thursdays, same time, same link. Mondays and Thursday, let's catch up. Let's talk about analytical skills. Thank you.